Hello, and welcome to Ice is Slippery, an unserious podcast about hockey brought to you by 1.5 hockey fans. My name is Kate, and I'm the hockey fan.
And my name is Fred. I am half a hockey fan.
Good afternoon, Fred. I don't feel like I should ask you how you're doing today.
My back hurts.
I know. It's hard getting old, isn't it?
Apparently, yeah. No, it hurts a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, babe.
Oh, well.
Well, we'll just get through this podcast and then you can lay down for the rest of the day. And I know you won't actually do that because you never do, but
It's hard to.
it's hard.
Yep.
Well, I'll try to do stuff so you don't have to.
That sounds good.
Yeah, for sure. So we watched the Super Bowl last weekend and it reminded me why we watch hockey.
Oh, God. Yeah, we did watch the Super Bowl. It's boring.
Yeah, it's not great. We mostly watched for the halftime show. Mm-hmm. We did kind of root for the Eagles because Philly.
Right.
And yeah, at one point they dumped Gatorade on the coach and there was still like 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
That would never happen in a hockey game.
No, and that 5 minutes took an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I grew up watching football, because Florida, but yeah, I remember now that hockey is the one true sport for me.
Yeah. The attention required, it's not even attention. It's just the passive, like sitting there and waiting.
Yeah, there's a lot of waiting.
Which is great when you're like just focusing on snacks and wings and beer and stuff. But like if you want to watch a sporting event, I don't know. Football's not it for me.
Yeah, nope, same. My ADHD ass needs a little more excitement.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, luckily there was still some hockey this week. I know people were kind of concerned that hockey wasn't going to really be that exciting this week with the NHL on hiatus, with the Four Nations tournament going on. But
right.
There was actually plenty of good stuff going on.
Yeah, it ended up being a hockey-filled week, I feel like, with a little downtime, which I didn't hate.
Yeah, no, I think, honestly, as much as the players are enjoying having a break, I think you're enjoying the break most of all.
Yeah, no, it's been okay.
Yeah.
Been okay with it.
Well, we did take the opportunity of the NHL being off to catch up on some PWHL games.
We did.
Because we are both interested in that. It's just been hard to work it into the rotation with as many teams as I follow these days. And it's burned out on hockey as you get these days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we did catch a few games. We saw on Tuesday, we came in partway through the Toronto Scepters versus the Minnesota Frost. Mm-hmm. Sarah Nurse was out with an injury.
She's the Mark Stone of the Scepters.
How dare you? Why would you say that about our queen? That's not okay. So that was a little bit of a bummer. So I was kind of nervous for the Scepters going in because she's a great player. I honestly don't really remember where the game was when we came in. I think it was pretty close to the end, though.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it was definitely, I want to say, the third period. Maybe the second.
No, we saw part of the second.
We did see
the
second.
And then we came back for the third.
That's what it was. Yeah. We saw, I think, the end of the second. Maybe saw the Scepters tie it up or something. And then we saw the third. All I really remember for sure is that it went to OT and the Scepters won.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was great. Somebody named Renata Fast got the puck and skated really fast. So
it's true.
That was great.
Yeah, and it was fun to watch. The vibes were good.
The vibes were great. The audience gets so into it all the time. Like I don't know. There have been NHL games I've watched where the crowd really goes dead on you, and this one, it just felt like so exciting the whole time.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I haven't seen much PWHL. I feel like you've seen more than me at this point,
right?
And I'm not familiar with the style of play, but for some reason I was thinking it was feeling more like college hockey last year or something like that. But it's not. It's intense. The physicality's there. And their passing game and their rush game is very exciting. Like all the time, all the teams, it seems.
Yeah, it is a different style of play, and it's kind of the style of play that you enjoy a little bit more. So I can see it being actually sort of more exciting for you to watch. And they've definitely have embraced the physicality for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can see the difference between the people who played last year and the sort of new people. We've heard about sort of the controversy around Britta Curl, and you found the montage of her getting hit by people, particularly Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Oh my God, she messes her up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, she keeps her head down. She's coming out of college, I think, and just is not used to the hitting. And so she's puck watching all the time, and she just gets absolutely clobbered.
Yeah,
And
that lady does not know how to take a hit.
Nope, not even a little.
Or have a social media account.
Right, exactly. Both of those things are not up her alley.
Nope.
So I'm moving on to the next game. We didn't actually watch this one, but I watched the highlights and I just thought I'd catch you up on it.
Mm-hmm.
So this was on Thursday, which we were watching one of the Four Nations games that night, but we heard all about this. The Ottawa Charge played the Minnesota Frost and won 8-3.
Yeah, got handed to him, huh?
Yeah, it was the highest scoring PWHL game in history, so in the last season and a half.
Right.
But, so far it's a record setter.
Yeah.
The Charge had been last place in the league, but this win took them into a 3-way tie for fourth place.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that's kind of the exciting thing about a smaller league too, is it's, every game makes a difference in the NHL to an extent, but when it's a 6-team league, it's even more of a tight race.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the Charge, I keep seeing their logo and I keep thinking they're from Ottawa.
From Calgary.
Huh? Yeah, Calgary. They are from Ottawa.
They are from Ottawa.
Yeah.
But it is a very puzzling design choice and I still do not understand it.
It looks like just a rejected Flames logo.
It really does.
Yep.
And especially now that you're becoming a low-key Flames fan.
Yeah, I guess we haven't really talked about that, but they're my backup team now.
They're your new backup team.
Yep.
They got Frost and Farabee.
Yeah, and their coach.
Oh, yeah, their coach is great.
Really, it's all about the coaching for me. I don't really care about
That's how you got into the Flyers, too.
Exactly.
You're just like, I love that coach, man.
Yep, that coach.
And the Panthers, you like Paul Maurice.
I do love Paul Maurice.
You're just a coach boy.
I apparently am.
Well, that's all right. We'll talk about your admiration for authority figures at some other time. So the Charge game, Teresa Venisheva had a hat trick, which was her first in the PWHL.
Nice.
The first Frost goaltender gave up 4 goals, and then they pulled her and then brought in another one who also had 4 goals scored on her.
Yikes.
And the Charge scored as many goals in this game as they did in their last 7 games combined.
Wow.
Yeah.
7. So, oh, boy. Some low-scoring, zero-scoring games there, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So it was a really exciting game. Even just the highlight reel is really exciting.
Nice.
I mean, you could really see the Frost coach just dying inside every time Ottawa scored. It was pretty great.
Yep.
So, and then Friday we watched the Boston Fleet versus the Scepters.
Yep.
Again, I don't think we watched the whole thing, but came in maybe in the second for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, the Scepters, again, were looking really good.
Yeah. The game on Tuesday, I didn't think they looked that good until, they won.
Right. Yeah. No, the Frost definitely looked dominant over them. And then they pulled it out sort of miraculously at the end.
Yeah.
But it definitely gave them a confidence boost or something, because I feel like they looked a lot more solid against the Fleet.
Yeah. No complaints with them.
Yeah. They were tied 1-1 near the end of the second. And then with 20 seconds left in the second period, they scored. And then that felt like a huge momentum shift.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they kind of just kept it as it was through most of the third period. And then they won in the power play in the third. And Jessie Comfer, who her brother plays in the NHL, she scored a great power play goal. So it was, it was really fun, those games that we watched. So
yeah, the power
definitely need to make more of an effort to watch those more.
Yeah, definitely. I think part of it's just getting to know the teams. I know we watched some content on which teams like what and which team should you root for. But I don't know that I still have an opinion on who I like the most.
Yeah, I think we need to do a little more of a deep dive maybe.
Yeah.
So, and part of it's, I think, just watching it. People will post on Reddit and say, I'm new to hockey, but team should I follow? And you just kind of have to watch and figure it out.
Yeah.
You can't,
Or go around and see all their coaches get interviewed and pick one.
Exactly. The way real people do it. The way the smart boys do it.
Exactly.
Honestly, the next time somebody posts that on Reddit, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, just watch coach interviews and find a coach that you like. That's what works for my husband.
Right?
So.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good plan. Yeah, I think we should probably keep watching, more often. I don't know. It was better than watching it last year. We only caught a few things last year, but I don't know. The energy and the momentum of the game was a lot more exciting to me.
I enjoyed it last year, but I think this year it's just kind of better for me because it's not like every game isn't this is a record-setting audience.
Right.
That was how it was every single game. And I get it. It was the inaugural season. They're making a big deal out of it. But ultimately, I just want to watch badass ladies play badass hockey.
Yeah.
And I don't need to like hear every single game about how groundbreaking it is. Like,
Right.
I just want to hear like, that was a great play. That was a great hit. And not like ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but it was really cool. And I definitely do need to watch more and probably pick a team and then get some merch. So
You're leaning towards Montreal, right?
I think I am, which is weird because I hate their color scheme. But
Yeah.
I mean, Poulin, she's great. I've watched her for a bazillion years. So
She's absolute beast mode.
I mean, I've watched her play in the Olympics for like forever. So
Yeah.
No, she's fantastic.
Yep. Good stuff.
Well, moving on, we had the Four Nations face-off.
My goodness.
Four Nations facing off.
Yeah. Four nations facing off.
We have to say it twice, like Sidney Crosby.
Yes. Can't not say it twice.
So going into this, it was pretty split online. Some people thought it was going to be great. A lot of people thought that the players were just going to be phoning it in and not having a great time and not playing hard because they didn't want to get injured. Well, those people were wrong.
Those people were very, very wrong.
Excruciatingly wrong.
Yeah. It turns out they did want to do this.
And they're having a great time.
Yeah.
As an extension, we are also having a great time.
Yeah. Getting our money's worth of all the various...
All 9,000 streaming services we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been great.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's been great for both of us for sort of different reasons because we're at sort of different levels of our hockey fandom. And I know for you, your approach to hockey is very much like, I just want everybody to have a good time and play a good game.
Exactly.
So this is really ideal for you.
It's great because I know players on all the teams.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily have a horse in the race.
Right. Like we're Americans, but like,
yeah,
we're not like America.
Yeah. No, if they win, great. I'm happy for them. But, if anybody else wins, great. I'm happy for them too. So, yeah, instead of just, panicking when you're on one end of the ice and being excited when you're on the other, I'm just excited when they're on anywhere on the ice.
Yeah. It's like great save, great goal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who did it.
Nope.
It's just really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm having a great time. And more importantly, the players are having a great time. The All-Star games have just been awful. And part of it's that the players clearly don't want to be there. Like somebody posted the clip of Kucherov from last year at the All-Stars.
Yeah.
Just half-assing it. And it's like so great to see the difference.
Right.
This year. Like people legit want to be there.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like the All-Star game's ever happening again at this point.
Yeah. I mean, if they do, it'll probably be like once every like 4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Which then, I don't know, maybe the players would have a better time with it or something. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems so much better. And I think the players are genuinely enjoying hanging out with each other and playing with each other and just, getting to be with their sort of friends and countrymen, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's been great. There's been actually a surprisingly large amount of social media content coming out from the NHL.
My goodness, somebody woke up and was like, we should probably promote this in every which way we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been really good. So Elliot Friedman sat down and interviewed Sidney Crosby and Nathan MacKinnon, who I just take great delight in explaining their weird relationship with you because, I've been around hockey for so long, so I'm familiar with it. And I just enjoy explaining it to you.
Yeah, no.
So you get to go along for the ride with it.
They're a trip for sure.
They're wild. So I watched the interview and I just took some notes of some of the highlights. So Friedman asked if there was any doubt if Sid would be joining. And Sid said there was a little doubt. And Nate was like, I don't know what's going on because Sid wouldn't answer any of my phone calls. He was very miffed about it. Mm-hmm. And Sid was just like wheezing and giggling because he thinks it's funny to torment Nate, apparently.
Yeah.
Sid did say it was very special to play together because the last time they did was in the World Championships 10 years ago. And they probably both assumed they would have played together sooner than that. And they've talked about this for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then Nate says, everyone knows what a big fan I was of Sid. Like, he's not still Sid's biggest fan.
Right. Used to be. Not...
Used to be. Like, he's like, I mean, now we've grown pretty close. It's like, you're still his biggest fan, number one fan.
For sure.
Yeah. At foam finger. Like, yeah, we all know you're obsessed with him. Friedman asked if Nate was like really hoping to be his line mate. And even Nate was like, listen, I was just happy to be here. And like, wherever they wanted me, like, that's cool. I would be there. But you can tell he's kind of geeked out to be Sid's line mate.
Yeah, for sure. Which,
of course.
Yeah. And it does seem like all the players that I've seen content or interviews from they're all very humble and just like, no, this is super cool. I get to do this. If the coach said, do this thing, I'll do that thing. Like the ego checked at the door kind of thing. Totally
no ego. People who are usually top line are playing on the fourth line with no complaints.
Yep.
Brad Marchand said he would have happily been the water boy. It's cute. They just are really having a good time and they're very happy to do that.
For sure.
So that's awesome. Elliot asked for Sid's best Nate story, and Sid laughed and hid his face and said, with him here, like, how am I supposed to talk shit about him right in front of him? So Sydney said that one of the first times he met Nate was like a scrawny kid who was 14 or 15, and they were meeting up with this trainer that they've both worked with named Andy. Andy gave Nate a drill and then started talking to Nate's dad for 7 or 8 minutes and never told Nate to stop. So Nate just kept doing the drill for the whole time. Mm-hmm. And Sid was there and felt kind of bad for him, but also said like he knew then that Nate was going to make it because he had this like great work ethic. And Nate was like, meanwhile, I was just trying to impress you. I'm really glad you noticed me. Which is great.
Yeah.
And then that segued into Nate's best story about Sid, which I showed you already. But this one has been around forever, and I've only seen it written out. I've never seen it told. But this was a few years later, right after Nate was drafted. He went to go work out with Sid and Andy again. They did a beach workout, and they were finishing it up by doing sprints up a sand hill. And so they're going to do 10 sprints, and they did 9, and Nate lost all 9 of them. Mm-hmm. And then on the 10th one, halfway through, he's actually ahead. And then he feels a hand around his ankle. And he gets dragged halfway down the hill by Sid, and his face like smacks into the sand. And then while he's down, Sid runs the rest of the way up the hill and beats him. And Sid says, I still can't believe I did that. And Nate said, psychopath. I barely knew him, but I thought it was unreal. I loved it.
Yeah, of course.
He just loves being negged.
Right.
He thinks it's great. And then Sid said, I didn't lose any sleep over that. I didn't think it was weird at all. Which, keep in mind at this point, if Nate's 18, then Sid's 26.
Right.
When this is going on.
It's weird stuff.
Such a fascinating dynamic to me. Like, there should be papers written about these guys. Like, it's insane to me.
Yeah, it goes deep, right? Because, like, there's the Tim Hortons commercials they've done together.
Oh, my God.
Like,
yeah.
There's so many things that they've just attached at the hip.
And, like, how Sid is usually pretty chill and, like, calm in his interviews, but just giggles like a madman whenever he's around Nate.
Right.
It's completely wild. So, yeah, I thought that was really fun. They also sat down for a segment called Who's More Likely? So they were interviewed separately and they were asked the same questions, and it's sort of who's more likely to do things. So there was who's more likely to start a podcast. They both agreed it was Nate. Nate said he's probably the last guy who would ever do that, which checks out. I can't imagine a Sidney Crosby podcast, probably.
No, probably not.
Although now I'd kind of love a Sid Nate podcast.
Yeah.
Where Sid just roast Nate the whole time. It'd probably be great. They both agreed that Nate is more likely to know Taylor Swift lyrics. Nate did defend himself by saying he was 13 when she was hitting it big, so he was around for a lot of that. And then he said, but I'm not going to sing any songs, though. And then the production crew started laughing, and they were like, you knew we were going there, huh? And he was like, I could feel it in the air.
Yep.
They both think that they would be the cool dad, which obviously we know that Nate would not be the cool dad.
I can't imagine him being the cool dad. Nope. Nope. He's going to be a little too wrapped tight to be a cool dad.
Yes. And I'm sure they meant like the cool dad, like with their own respective kids. But I just imagine like the kids they're raising together to be like amazing hockey players.
Real world with Nate and Sid.
Yeah. It's great. Like their little hockey camp. Sid's definitely the cool dad. Nate's definitely not the cool dad.
He's definitely not. No
way.
No, he's packing weird lunch for his kids.
Yes. Nope. Chickpea everything.
Yep.
Definitely not even hiding vegetables into the like food because you're just eating straight up vegetables all the time.
Yep.
When asked who is more likely to have a broadcasting career, they each said each other. Sid said, I hear his takes, so I'd love for other people to hear his takes. But it was unclear whether he thought they were good takes or not.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really picture. I guess I can picture Sid more than Nate is not eloquent from what I have ever seen.
Sid's got more personality.
For sure.
He's got some charisma now.
Yep.
They both said Nate is more likely to never answer the group chat, which was a surprise to me because I figured he would always be responding to Sid in any kind of chat situation.
Right. They
both said the other one would win at arm wrestling, although Sid said he hated to admit that. And then my favorite was they both said that Nate was more likely to start a side business. That was just the question, who would be more likely to start a side business? And Nate said, I'd love to start a coffee shop. And then they cut to Sid saying, Nate likes coffee and he's talked about it in the past, so it's something we might see down the road. So they've clearly had this conversation about how one day Nate's going to open a coffee shop.
That's cool.
And then Nate said that he takes pride in making good coffee, but also he has a good machine, so he can't take too much credit. But in the world of fan fiction, coffee shop AUs are like a big thing. So all of the coffee shop AU people are all over this right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess so.
You don't understand any of
I mean,
that,
I do. Unfortunately, I do know what you're talking about. It's just something I'm not interested in thinking about.
No, I mean, that's completely valid.
But if he opens a coffee shop, maybe it'll be in Denver.
Maybe. We can go check it out.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be some good food in Denver.
Probably not.
Chickpea coffee.
Oh, man.
So they also did one of those with Sebastian Aho and Rope Hens, which was really cute. I might link that on the socials. Some more social media stuff I thought was great was they talked to Team USA and Team Canada about who should do a Super Bowl show. And it really reinforced that hockey men have terrible taste in music.
Oh, yeah. They're all like going out on the ice, coming up with a band or artist they would put for a Super Bowl.
Exactly. I kind of summarized it. So for Team USA, there was Morgan Wallen.
Yep.
And it was a shame, really, because Jeremy Swayman and Jake Ottinger came out together and they're kind of squinting and looking at the thing and they're kind of whispering and conferring. And it's so cute. And then they walk out and one's like Morgan and one's like Wallen. And I'm like, really? All of that cuteness just to be Morgan Wallen? Mm-hmm. Somebody else had him too. You got a couple Chris Stapletons, a Taylor Swift, a Coldplay, a Zach Bryan, a Drake, and then Noah Hannafin said Creed.
He sure did.
He sure did.
I mean, he looks like he listens to Creed, so.
Yeah. He's Vegas, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
All of this checks out.
Yeah, he's got strong Creed vibes.
Yeah. Team Canada was slightly more interesting, I guess. They still had some bad takes.
They had some real bad takes.
They also had 3 Morgan Wallens, a couple of Chris Stapletons, some guy named Zach Top, who's like country guy, an Eminem, a Post Malone, a Taylor Swift, that was Brad Marchand, who's a huge Swiftie.
Yep.
A Coldplay, 6 Drakes.
I was going to say, it was a lot of Drakes.
So many Drakes.
It's like those guys are living under a rock.
Yeah. I mean, they're Canadian. He's Canadian. It's weird country pride thing, I guess.
I don't know.
Seth Jarvis said Nickelback.
Yeah, he did.
He did. I feel like he was maybe just going for a Canadian band.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out he's Canadian.
I know. He really gives vibes of being from the American South.
I mean, yeah. I've said this a few times. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, that's right. He's Canadian.
Yeah. No, it is mind-boggling to me for some reason. So Bryan Adams was the choice of Mark Stone. And I feel like I would have enjoyed that pick if it had been anybody else. But since it was Mark Stone, I dislike it.
Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams. Again, Canadian.
Yeah. But man, I haven't heard a Bryan Adams song in decades at this point.
I've heard a couple on the radio, but yeah, it's definitely not Super Bowl music.
No.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. No.
And then of course we had my favorite answer, Nate McKinnon, the Tragically Hip.
The Tragically Hip.
Tragically Hip.
Look at that.
Yeah.
At least that's much more interesting than what we got.
It sure is. It's not a good choice, but it's, it's out there.
It is.
So, yeah. And then we also had Team USA and Team Canada got asked who they were most excited to see during Four Nations. Mitch and Austin both said Sid. Mitch was happy to play with him. Austin was excited to play against him on a national level. Mm-hmm. Jake Ottinger said Essa Lindell, which was nice. Matty Tkachuk said he was excited to see his teammate Gustav Forsling play for his home country. Dylan Larkin said he was excited to see the Tkachuk brothers play together, and boy, was he prescient.
Yeah.
That was definitely exciting.
They sure did.
And Jacob Slavin thought it would be special to see McKinnon, McDavid, and Crosby all play together. And then he was also excited to play against his teammate Sebastian Aho because he's played with him his whole career.
Yeah, turned out that was also correct, that would be interesting to see.
Yes, indeed. So not to be left out, they also did some content with the Sweden and Finland teams. And it's very funny, like the contrast between it, because they also have rivalries, but it's just like it's so different. Mm-hmm. So the NHL asked Team Sweden what Team Finland player they would take on their team. So One person said Arakawa, one said Mikko Rantanen, one said Granlund, one said Saros, one said Yokiharu, 5 said Barkov, and then 9 said no one.
Wow.
Nylander said, good question, and didn't answer.
Good question.
And then Matthias Ekholm said, we're doing fine without them, which is great. And then the same question for Finland. Somebody said Jesper Bratt. Somebody said Gabe Landeskog, which is an interesting choice since he hasn't played in 2 years.
Right.
A couple people said Zibanejad. 2 people said Rasmus Dahlin, including one of the goalies, which it's pretty obviously they would want a good defenseman.
Pretty telling.
And then 15 of the Finnish players said nobody.
Wow.
Yeah. Patrick Laine said, we don't need anyone. And then a lot of players just flat out ignored the question and kept walking. It was just the epitome of go on, girl, give us nothing.
Right, right.
They are just not going to play these games.
Gotcha.
And then they also asked each team to say something nice about the opposing countries. So Finland said Stockholm is good. Sweden has good hockey players, a few named specific hockey players. Rasmus Dahlin, Jesper Bratt, and Esa Lindell said John Klingberg. Somebody liked chocolate. Somebody liked Swedish candy. Sebastian Aho said they have the best neighbor. 5 people said that Sweden got good meatballs.
Wow.
Yeah. One specifically said IKEA meatballs.
I was going to say, yeah.
And yeah, Rope Hens was one of the meatball people.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Okay. That was surprising to me. And then 6 had nothing nice to say.
Jeez, yeah.
And then Sweden, one person said Jonas Korpisalo. One person said good saunas. And then at least 12 had nothing good to say. Mm-hmm. And then there were a few others who mumbled something that was maybe in Swedish, and I couldn't understand what they said, and there were no subtitles. So they might have had something nice to say, or it might have been nothing nice. But literally the only good things I got out of it were Korpisalo and saunas.
Yeah, I guess they definitely do have a rivalry.
Yeah, and it's great because it's like a very heated... Well, it's the opposite of a heated rivalry. It's like an icy rivalry.
Yeah.
It's like a very chilly rivalry. They're just like, no, I will not talk about this.
Right.
This is beneath me.
Wild.
It's great. And then there's one more piece of social media content I found really enjoyable, which is which 4 nations teammate would be your emergency contact. This was, again, Team USA and Canada. Mm-hmm. Dylan Larkin said Zach Werenski, who was his teammate at University of Michigan. Yep. They were roommates. Matthew Tkachuk said Quinn Hughes because he's always on his phone and he always responds to texts.
There we go.
That's pretty smart. Otter said Jeremy Swayman because, quote, he's trustworthy and I know I could count on him if I needed to call him. TK and Travis Sanheim chose each other because they're best friends. And then Josh Morrissey had the best answer. He said Sid because he probably has phone numbers for presidents and world leaders. So if I was in a pinch, he'd help me out.
Wow.
Which begs the question, what is Josh Morrissey up to?
Yeah.
I know.
World leaders, really?
Yeah. It's like, is he going to cause an international incident? Like, we need to be on the lookout.
Jeez. Yeah.
Right? So that was just kind of what's been going on behind the scenes of 4 nations. But really the most exciting parts have been on the ice.
Right.
So it kicked off on Wednesday with Canada versus Sweden. Sweden took an early penalty in the first game.
Like real early.
Real early, like not even a minute in.
Right.
Which was great because we got to see that Canada power play that we've all been really amped about. You know, McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon, all on the ice at the same time.
Yep.
And guess what? They scored a goal.
Yeah, they went out there and did fancy shit and had a goal.
Exactly. Yeah, McDavid got the puck to Sidney Crosby, who did kind of like a backhand spinorama pass to Nate, who scored a goal, which I'm sure for Nate was just like a dream come true.
Right. Getting
the opening goal of the tournament off of an assist from Sidney.
Yeah. Yeah. A behind the back, no look, crazy. It's just, that's an unbelievable way to start things.
Oh my God. Yeah. Just totally fantastic. The second goal came from Brad Marchand off of an assist from Braden Point. And Marchand actually got cheers at the Bell Center in Montreal, which has never happened to him, ever. He usually gets booed. In the second period, Jonas Brodin beat Bennington through a screen to get Sweden on the board. And then Rasmus Dahlin made an amazing save at the goal line to keep the game tight. But then Mark Stone scored off of a pass from Sid to make it 3-1 in favor of Canada.
Also an incredible assist.
Here's the thing. I will give people credit when they make amazing plays, even if I don't like them. But I don't have to do that this time because that goal was 98.7% Sidney Crosby.
It's true.
Like he just, he got it to Mark Stone. But like he could have banked it off of anyone or anything.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
No, the way he handled that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had 3 assists in the game. Like, he's bonkers. He's so good. So that was only his second. So spoiler alert, he gets another one later. So in the third period, Sweden did come out looking really determined. About 2 minutes in, Erik Karlsson made a great play to get the puck to Adrian Kempe, who got in between 2 defenders and scored. And then halfway through the period, Jesper Bratt got the puck to Eriksson Ek at the net front and tied the game. And then no one else scored in regulation, so it went to OT, which was really exciting because the way the tournament's structured, if you win in regulation, you get 3 points and the loser gets 0 points. But if you go to OT, winning team gets 2 points, losing team gets 1 point. So just kind of makes the tournament a little tighter.
And it's 10-minute 3-on-3?
Yeah, instead of 5-minute 3-on-3, it's 10-minute 3-on-3, which is pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah, I've got no complaints, I guess. It is, well, I don't know. It stinks when a team does better and then they lose in overtime, I think, because of, whatever happened. But I guess that's just the nature of the game.
I don't think either team was like super, super dominant.
No.
Definitely, Canada, I think, was stronger the first 2 periods, but not, significantly.
Right. Yeah. No, not in this case. I just mean in general.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I like the 10-minute OT better because 5-minute OT, it's so hard to get anything going. And there's so much sort of waiting around, with the shorter shifts and things that it's pretty easy to just play out the clock. So 10 minutes, it gives you time to do stuff.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So, Binnington is the Canada goalie and he's spotty. And that's been sort of the biggest concern about the Canada team is the goaltending.
Right.
But in OT, he stepped up huge. Like, he made some really amazing saves and he kept Canada in the game. So Nate McKinnon was hammering pucks at Gustafsson at the other end, couldn't get anything in. People were complaining later that he should have passed more instead of shooting more, but, backseat coaching.
Right, yeah.
They're watching on TV, so it is what it is. But 6 minutes into the period, the overtime period, Sid did Sid things, and he dropped the puck back to Mitch Marner, and then he hustled back to get onside and get off the ice, and then Mitch Marner just skated forward and just made this amazing goal in OT to win it, and it was just so good. Yeah,
it was like the power play kind of set up speed coming into the zone, and then he did the thing.
Yeah, I don't really watch the Leafs, not the Leaves.
You don't watch the Leaves?
We're not grammatically correct. They're the Leafs.
The Leafses?
The Leafses. I don't really watch the Leafses, but whenever I do see them, I am really impressed by the way Mitch Marner plays. He plays pretty hockey.
You like him a lot.
I don't know how much I like him, but I don't like how much other people dislike him.
Sure.
I look at his stat sheet and I look at the way he plays and I just don't understand. I just feel like it's irrational why people dislike him the way that they do. I think it's just because he's kind of I don't know. He just kind of it looks like a perpetual 15-year-old. It just kind of feels like when everybody hated Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just because he has a dorky, little kid vibe that people are mean to him. And however I feel about him, whether I like him or don't like him or I'm indifferent to him, I'm at heart a contrarian. So if other people dislike him, I'm going to like him for no other reason than just because I'm contrary.
Well, I've got no real opinion on him. I think he's fine. But yeah, I mean, he does have that look of being, like he's going to ask you for Robux or V-Bucks or something, right?
Yeah, no, he definitely wants to know if he can have an extra hour of screen time.
Yeah.
He's pretty pleased. He promises he's going to clean his room tomorrow, Mom. So
no, he looks really young, but I don't know. I don't know much about Toronto, if I'm being honest.
Listen, he feels really bad that he lost his retainer, and he promises he's going to babysit and pay you back. So, but no, I don't know. I was proud of him. I thought it was a really nice goal. Again, great creation from Sid, but whereas Mark Stone really was just kind of there, Mitch had to do a lot of the work too.
Yeah.
Although as much as I, was sort of enjoying the schadenfreude of the Mitch Marner haters having to shut up for a few minutes, I did also enjoy somebody was like, oh, well, Sid just put a picture of Austin Matthews in the back of the net, so Mitch thought he was passing to him, and that's why he scored. And I did think that was funny, too.
That is funny.
I guess I'm just a hater in general, and that's fine. So, on to the next game. Thursday, USA versus Finland.
Yep.
I've honestly been super worried about the Finland game.
Yeah.
You know, Finland has been through it. Their defense is it's not in great condition.
Right.
I think Jani Hakanpää was always kind of a long shot to be there. He's only played 2 games this season, I think.
Oh, really? Is that it?
Yeah, no, he's been out with his knee injury for most of the season.
Bummer.
So, but Rasmus Ristolainen has been probably having a career best season with the Flyers.
Yeah, he's doing great.
And then Miro Heiskanen is one of the top 5 defensemen in the NHL. Argument could be made for top 3, and certainly the best Finnish defenseman in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
So him not being there is a huge blow.
Yeah.
So they had to call up some replacements for Risto and Miro. And I think with those replacements, there's literally one other Finnish defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah.
They are tapped out. They don't have a lot going on. And they do have some good defense still. Like they have Esa Lindell, who's amazing, but he's only one man.
He's only one person.
There's only so much he can do. So they did look a lot better than I thought that they would at first.
Yeah. They were, yeah. And they were my original pick.
They were.
And then I started to kind of question it after all the injuries. I was like, oh, wait, they need everybody.
Yeah. No, it's those injuries. They just don't have like that depth that like a US or Canada has where they can call up other very, very talented people to fill in.
Yeah.
It's a depth issue, really, more than anything else. So Finland did get on the board first, though. It was Jukka Harju scored the first goal, and he was one of the defensemen that got called up as a fill-in. So
nice.
That was really nice.
Love that.
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, that was the last offensive effort we would see from Finland all game.
Yeah.
So the first 2 periods, Finland really stayed in it. Defensively, I would say they were pretty smothering.
Yeah. Yeah, they were chugging along they were grinding it out and weren't like getting overwhelmed and just being real Finnish about it.
They just kept it a really tight game.
Yeah.
And were really shutting things down a lot, which again, like Esa Lindell is a shutdown defenseman, and that mentality was out there. They got at least 1 power play attempt that didn't go great. And again, that's another part where you're really missing Miro because he's good on the power play. He's been a little inconsistent with that on the Stars this year, but you know, we've got Barkov QBing the power play and he's better elsewhere on the power play. So
that's a good point. Yeah.
And then, I just think the Finnish coach seems to have maybe been resistant to changing things up because I don't think he's changed the power play at all. So that's kind of an issue.
Real Steve Spot behavior.
Yeah, that's not who you want to be taking on as your role model when it comes to the power play.
All right, so we're going into the third, which means I'm going to bed.
Yes. Yeah. Fred's off to bed. It's the game started at 6, so it's got to be about 8 now, which means it's Fred's bedtime.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the third, I don't think.
No, I don't think you did. And then, at that point it was 2-1. So US had gotten two goals at that point during the first 2 periods. Brady Tkachuk scored the first one. And then the second one was Matt Boldy. He tipped one in from Brock Faber. So it was an all Minnesota Wild goal.
Yeah.
So third period starts. U.S. goes on the power play. 14 seconds into the period, Matthew Tkachuk scores power play goal. 11 seconds later, Jake Gensel scores a goal. All of a sudden, the U.S. is up 4-1, like 30 seconds into the third period.
Yeah.
Things are maybe starting to feel a little daunting. Then Brady Tkachuk scores another goal. He had scored the first goal. And then Matthew Tkachuk scores another goal. So, and this is still only halfway through the third period. So, U.S. is up 6-1. Both Tkachuks are on Hattie watch.
Right.
It just took a turn real fast.
Yeah.
It was pretty brutal. So Finland did manage to shut it down at that point, but obviously it was too little too late. So, that was not ideal. I mean, the U.S. was real happy. They were feeling themselves in a big way.
Yeah, what a good move for them.
Yeah, nope, they were very, very happy. So they were thriving, living their best lives. So Saturday goes on to the next stage of the competition.
Right.
We had 2 games on Saturday. In the afternoon, we had Finland versus Sweden.
Yep.
And then in the evening, we had U.S. versus Canada. If you asked ESPN, the only one that mattered was U.S. versus Canada.
Man, those dudes are assholes.
They're the worst.
Yeah.
It was so like North American centric. It was so annoying. And again, speaking as an American, like,
Right.
I can't even imagine, probably if you were Swedish or Finnish, you were watching a Swedish or Finnish feed, hopefully, because the ESPN one was so god awful.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally, more than 50% of the broadcast, they were talking about US and Canada.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No context for Finland or Sweden, no details, no interesting stuff. But yeah, when they tell us something interesting about the game, it was in relation to what it means for USA or what it means for Canada. Yeah. I don't know. Them and Gretzky can all go to hell. And, there's other teams and other countries out there, and everybody deserves the same amount of respect and attention.
Yeah, no, it's super annoying. And I get it. They're trying to quote unquote grow the game, but
yeah, whatever.
Like, if you just want it to be a US-Canada tournament, just have US-Canada. Like,
right.
It's so stupid, especially because Finland and Sweden are rivals. Like, they are competitive with each other.
And they're good.
And they're good. They're very good. They have excellent players on their team.
Yeah.
So, again, do they have the depth of a US or a Canada within the NHL? No, but they're still excellent. So it's just incredibly frustrating and disheartening to be trying to watch and enjoy the game and just be like, I would love to hear about these players that I don't know very well.
Right.
So, or even the players that I do, like Esa Lindell. I want to hear more about Esa Lindell.
Yeah.
I want the world to share in the gospel of Esa Lindell. Well, I was really pulling for Finland to have a good game after the loss to the US.
Yeah. Yeah. We love Finland.
We do.
Yeah.
As we've said in earlier episodes, you are spiritually Finnish.
Yeah.
So they also have a really intense rivalry with Sweden, like we've said earlier. I talked about the sort of social media stuff. So this was actually a really meaningful game. Again, not that you'd know it if you listened to the ESPN broadcast. Kevin Lankinen got the start and goal for Finland. So no Saros after the last game.
Yep.
And Gustafsson again got the start for Sweden. Sweden scored first in this game. Zibanejad capitalized on a turnover.
Yep.
Esa Lindell did some great defensive work to get the puck to Patrick Laine. He sent it to Luosterainen, who got it to Lundell for the goal to tie it up for Finland. The ESPN announcer proudly announced that Esa Lindell scored the goal because Lundell, I guess they're the same person.
Same person.
Yeah, great. Good job. Quality work, guys.
Yep.
I mean, I like Esa Lindell too, but give him credit for his goals. So at the end of the first, the Finns went on the power play, and Mikko Rantanen gave Finland the 2-1 lead with 13.9 seconds left in the first. So that was exciting. After the first period, Sweden did make a goalie swap. But the coach did say that it was just because Gustafsson was sick. It wasn't because of his performance or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting, I thought.
He didn't seem terrible, so.
No, he really didn't. I don't think there was anything really wrong with him. Ullmark was really dialed in and made some great saves right off the bat, which was very promising for Sweden because that really could have been a turning point if he had coming in cold and not playing the prior game at all. Could have been an issue, but
yeah,
he was really good. And that actually gave Sweden the opportunity to tie it up. And he is Fred's new favorite player, Rasmus Dahlin.
I am impressed with that kid. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you weren't really super familiar with him.
I know his face. I know he's Sabres.
And his name.
Yeah. I've certainly seen him and I'm aware that he's a person. But this was the first time I've seen him play outside of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Getting I guess we've seen Buffalo win every now and then. But anyway, it's not a team that we follow or pay close attention to. But man, that kid's good. And then, I think you looked him up after. I was raving about how good he was on all levels. And it turns out everybody already knew that.
Yes. Yeah, no, he's great. I was like, ooh, maybe he should come to Dallas and fix our defense problems, and we cannot afford him.
No, because he's really good.
He's very good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, he's great. And no, he did fantastic. So, yeah, no, both teams played really hard. And again, it ended up going to OT.
Yep.
Which was great. And then I was trying to manifest an Esa Lindell game winner.
As you do.
As I do. I misdirected my manifestation a little bit. And one of the Stars Finnish players did score the game winner. It was Mikael Granlund, our new star that we got from the Sharks.
New guy.
Yeah. Lankinen made a really great save, but then he lost track of the rebound and it was just floating around there.
Yep.
And Granlund just scooped it up and started hauling ass down the ice and turned it into a 2-on-1. And then He really sold that he was going to pass it. He was just looking right at the other player and then just nailed just a no-look shot on goal, went 5-hole. So good. I mean, Allmark just like looked up at the heavens afterwards because he was like, oh,
Yeah.
I got burned on that one. But it was really great. And I was happy. I was just happy mostly that Finland's got points in the game now. Like,
Right.
I was just happy it went to OT so they'd have at least 1 point. So 2 points is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that means that Finland and Sweden are tied with 2 points in the tournament.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's good.
All right. Cool.
So then we got to, according to the ESPN, the main event.
The main event.
The main event that
Yes,
night.
absolutely.
The U.S. versus Canada.
The game that's really important and interesting.
Yeah. Now, I hate to admit it, but the game was actually super interesting.
No, I mean, they're not wrong that that's like the headline event, but they just
you don't have to like talk about
they don't
it
have
like
to be
incessantly.
Yeah, they don't have to be jerks about it.
Yeah, like don't be a dick, ESPN.
Yeah, it's impossible for them.
I know. Don't be a dick challenge failed
Yep.
immediately. So obviously a lot of conflict is going on with Canada and the U.S. right now.
Obviously.
And I'm not going to like get too much into like the details or the weeds with that.
No, this is a hockey podcast.
This is a hockey podcast.
This is not a tariff podcast.
It's not a tariff podcast. I will just say that the anthem has been getting booed.
Yeah.
The American anthem has been getting booed in Canada prior to the Four Nations face-off even starting. And these national tournaments do tend to get sort of, patriotic, I guess, for
Sure.
lack of a better word. And that is just maybe even more heightened than usual right now. So also what's unique about this tournament or unusual about this tournament is it's not played by the International Hockey Federation rules like the Olympics. It's played under NHL rules, which means fighting is okay.
Oh, cool.
So the U.S. decided to kick things off the way the U.S. does by kicking some ass.
Yeah.
So puck drops right in the U.S.-Canada game, and immediately Matthew Tkachuk is dropping gloves with Brandon Hagel
Yeah.
from Canada. So they're already kind of rivals because Hagel plays on the Lightning and
Okay.
Tkachuk is on the Panthers. So
Sure.
they're kind of like already rivals a little bit anyway. They fight, they get sent to the box.
Yep.
This is 2 seconds into the game, mind you.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
They go ahead and go to another face-off. Immediately, Brady Tkachuk drops the gloves with Sam Bennett from Team Canada, who is Matthew Tkachuk's teammate on the Florida Panthers.
Correct.
They fight. They get sent off the ice.
Yeah.
This is now 3 seconds into the game.
Yep.
I mean, this all takes the place over several minutes. Like, it's crazy.
Right. 3 seconds of hockey, but several minutes
of
watching.
real lifetime.
Right.
Oh, and something I noticed on rewatching it this morning is when Matthew and Brandon Hagel drop the gloves and sticks, Brady skates right over and scoots the sticks and gloves out of the way so they have plenty of area to fight without falling over things.
Yeah.
And then he's cheering on Matthew during the fight, which is great.
Yeah.
And then during Brady's fight, they cut over to Matthew in the box, banging on the glass and yelling for his brother. So those two are insane.
Yeah, they're nuts.
Yeah, they did not start on the same line in the first game the U.S. played. They put them together halfway through the game, and that was really the turning point for the game. Those two are lunatics together.
They are.
Yeah, complete animals.
Yep.
Total beasts. They were the first and second star of the first U.S. game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they came out and set the tone. So anyway, they drop the puck again. They actually play for a few seconds and do a shot on goal. And then JT Miller decides he's going to throw down with Colton Parayko, who is a half a foot taller than he is.
Yep.
So bold choice.
Bold choice.
So they fight. They go to the box.
Yeah.
So it is now 8 seconds into the game.
My God. It's
Yeah, it was wild. You were actually really into it.
No, I mean, that's fun. That was like, I don't think anyone was expecting it other than like the players on the ice there.
Yeah, I don't think the coaches got a heads up.
No.
Like, the coaches seemed to support it after the fact.
Yeah, yeah. And Ray Ferraro seemed to have some inside information, but I just tune him out at this point.
I think he could just read it on the ice because, after the first one, Ray Ferraro was like, I don't think this is over yet. But that was, JT Miller was like literally pushing somebody like by the face-off dot at the time. So, yeah, it was just wild. They did ask Brady about it during the intermission, and Brady said, yeah, it all happened really organically. And then it turned out that what happened was Matthew and Brady and JT Miller were in a group chat, and Matthew was like, they got the list of who was starting. And Matthew was like, okay, I want to fight Brandon Hagel since he's starting. So not organic.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of organic.
And then Brady's like, okay, well, I want to fight too. And then Matthew's like, okay, well, let me call Sam Bennett because he'll fight with you.
Nice.
So he's like arranging a play date for his bro.
Organically.
Yeah. And then JT Miller's like, I want to fight too. I'm also violent. I also have anger management issues. And then I don't know how he arranged his fight. Maybe he just fought whoever he saw first.
Yeah.
So Not really sure the details of that. But yeah, so I don't know. Organically, I'm not sure. But yeah, Matthew did ask Brandon Hagel ahead of time. He's like, hey, you want to go? And Brandon Hagel's like, fuck yeah. Like, I'm not going to not go if he wants to actually go.
Right.
Because this has been a long time coming. So they did that. And then, yeah, I do think the Brady Sam Bennett one was very much arranged by Matthew.
Yep. Everyone got their money's worth.
It was great. The crowd is already riled up. I get what they were doing too. US has been pretty clear that they know that they're the villains and they're playing into the villain role.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Canadians are skilled, but they're not as physical as the US team. And the US team wanted to sort of make it clear up front that they're the big physical guys and they wanted to do that. It was funny before the game too, during the anthems, they showed Matthew on the ice and he was just like jittery.
Mm-hmm.
He was bouncing up and down. And I pointed it out. I was like, oh, he's like in this. Now I know it's because he was waiting for his organically arranged fight to come up. So it was funny too. They interviewed Brady and Matthew's dad, Keith Tkachuk, after the game to see his take on it. So he said that he had no idea that the kids were going to do this going in. He said that they must have talked amongst themselves.
He had no idea, but he got text messages from them explaining what they were going to do, probably.
No,
I know.
Yeah, right. That could have been the fact. He said, I could figure it out when I saw the opening face-off, what they were doing.
Yeah.
He talked about how they are always team first guys. And that's the thing, especially with Matthew Tkachuk. Paul Maurice has talked about him being like the energy guy and always knowing what the team needs energy wise. And I do feel like that was Matthew being like, all right, let's set the tone going out. Like, this is what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
To tell them what we're doing. And then Keith did say, he said that his kids are lunatics.
Yep. And
he said, we were pretty nervous. Nobody likes to see their kid fight, but I knew Brady could handle it fine.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about Maddie.
He just notably didn't mention Maddie at all, which is great to me because it's like, Maddie's Maddie. Like, he doesn't need to win it physically to win it. I thought it was interesting. They even showed the fights in the Sportsnet highlights. When I watched the highlights of the game, they usually don't show fight highlights.
The NHL posted it on one of their shorts and people were losing their minds in the comments. They're like, oh my God, pinch me. The NHL's posted a fight.
Yeah. I mean, it was iconic. It was.
Oh yeah. That'll be talked about for
years.
The rest of time.
Oh yeah. No, it was a historical moment. I really enjoyed it. So after all of that, Canada ended up getting on the board first.
Yep.
Drew Doughty had a great pass off the boards to Connor McDavid, who had a classic Connor McDavid goal.
Yeah, that was a fire goal.
It was sexy. It was just zooming right up the middle. I mean, I actually got weirdly emotional about that. Like, I feel really lucky to live in a time when I get to watch Connor McDavid play hockey. Like, he's a really great hockey player. And again, he's not somebody I'm personally that invested in.
Right.
I'm not an Oilers person. He's just so good. And I get to watch him play.
Yeah.
Like, I get to watch him do stuff like that. Like, that's crazy. Like, that power play goal the first night. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's so cool.
No, real good.
I just really like good hockey.
So, yeah, sometimes I do too.
Sometimes, on occasion. No, but this tournament really, I don't know, kind of reawakened my love for it again, because I'm not worried about sort of loyalties or whatever. Like,
right.
Legit, I like people on every team. So whoever does well, I'm happy with. So yay.
Yep.
Both teams had some power play opportunities that they didn't capitalize on. Jake Gensel tied it up for the U.S. on one that Bennington really should have had.
Mm-hmm.
So they exited the first tied 1-1. Oh, one thing I have not mentioned is that Canada did go into this with sort of a disadvantage. Cale Makar was sick.
That's right.
Yes, it was all very scandalous Because in the first game, Canada lost Shea Theodore. He injured his wrist and is now out for the rest of this tournament and is also, I think, now month to month or week to week or something with a wrist injury because Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
nobody saw that coming.
Nobody saw that coming.
Nope.
So they were basically already down to, having to bring in their backup D-man. So the NHL was like, okay, well, you can't bring a backup D-man, but you can ask somebody to be in Boston on standby in case somebody else gets sick or injured.
Right.
So they had a few other people. Most of the probably more established guys are already on vacation with their families and stuff. But Thomas Harley is, he's a young guy. So apparently he was just about to get on the plane to go to Cabo with Wyatt Johnston for the break.
Yep.
And they called him and were like, hey, can you come be on standby? And he was like, absolutely. So he flew to Boston. But then Cale Makar got super, super sick and missed morning practice. And the NHL gave permission for him to go to Montreal to be there just in case. And it turned out to be a good thing because Cale Makar was too sick to play. So Harley hadn't even practiced with the team, but he was on the ice and played with them last night for Team Canada.
Yeah.
So
as a Stars fan, you're loving it.
Yeah, no, I was really excited for him. I know he really has his eye on being on the Olympic team, and this is a great opportunity for him to get out there. He is a great defenseman. A lot of people don't. I mean, I saw people in the comments last night, who's Thomas Harley? So yeah. And he did really great. He knocked Jack Hughes down real hard at one point during the game.
I love that.
Yeah, he had some really good plays. He did a really good job. Obviously, when Cale is better, he's going to come back in. But I'd love it if maybe they could keep Thomas in over somebody else. So I don't know if they can, but if they can, I think they should go for it. I think he looked better than some of the other people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, I saw him do some things.
Yeah. I mean, there was.
I don't remember what, but he did some stuff.
There was one thing he did that was really great where he got a puck and cleared it out of the zone, and even the commentators were really happy about it. And then Sidney Crosby immediately turned it over, and it resulted in a goal, which was a bummer. So that one is what led to Dylan Larkin scoring a goal, which you described as authoritative.
Yeah, Larkin came down. He's like, boom.
You could tell, he just decided, it was on his stick. And there was a point where he was just like, oh, I'm fucking doing this.
Yeah.
He just was on board. So.
No, it was good looking.
It was. And he was so happy. It was really cute.
Yeah.
So, one of my favorite doctors is a Red Wings fan. So I was happy on behalf of him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, the U.S. really sort of buckled down and played a really defensive sort of tort style game.
Yep.
They had the 2-1 lead, so they just kind of locked it in. And wasn't really the most exciting, No,
it started out.
For all of the, the fights took up all the excitement, maybe.
Yeah. The first was still pretty.
Oh, the first was. This is more the second.
Yeah, the second.
The second, it really settled in.
It felt like a normal hockey game in the second. Yeah.
Yeah. So Canada did pull their goalie with a few minutes left, but then Jake Gensel scored again and got the empty net goal, which sealed it for the U.S. So the U.S. won it in regulation 3-1.
Yep.
So big takeaways from the game. The U.S. has now clinched their spot in the finals.
Right.
So Canada and Sweden and Finland are all tied. And yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yep. So that's what we've got to look forward to this week, right? We've got a game early in the week and then the finals late in the week.
We have 2 games on Monday. So I think it's President's Day. And so we have an afternoon game on Monday and then an evening game on Monday. So it's Canada versus Finland in the afternoon and then U.S. versus Sweden in the evening. So Canada-Finland is interesting because if either team wins in regulation, they automatically go to the finals.
Oh.
So if that happens, then U.S.-Sweden is just kind of meaningless.
Right.
If it goes to OT, though, it doesn't guarantee them a spot in the finals. Then it really comes down to what happens during the U.S.-Sweden game.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. So 2 games tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And then the final is Tuesday night.
Oh, the finals?
I think.
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Yeah, not Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't remember things. Anyway, I don't have my notes in front of me. But yeah, so that's it's still interesting.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Oh, Matthew Tkachuk did leave the game early with what seems to maybe be a groin pull based on what he was gesturing to.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So-
he was sitting on the bench. It looked. I was saying that Torts benched him, which would have been amazing.
It would have been great. No, he just pulled himself right out of the game, but stayed on the bench, presumably because it was a tight game. And he was probably like, listen, I will jump back in if I absolutely need to. Because that man played with a broken sternum 2 years ago. Like he'll do what it takes. So he has now come out and said that he has an injury and he's going to sit out the US-Sweden game to rest up for the final, basically, since they're clinched anyway.
Since they're clinched. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that works out.
Yeah. So that's kind of the deal there. I will say I did enjoy a lot of the camera work in the game yesterday.
Correct.
The refs had body cams on.
They did. And
they would cut to them sometimes, and it was really cool.
Yeah. That didn't make them any more accountable, but we got to see some cool shots.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, much like police accountability, body cams haven't improved ref accountability that much either.
No.
So, yeah. And then my other big takeaway is just that people are reluctantly becoming fans of the Tkachuks.
I mean, yeah, you've been on that train for a while now, and
particularly the Matty Tkachuk train.
I mean, you started out reluctant with even there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know that you're ever going to get on the Brady train, but
I kind of around playoffs last year got on board with him because he was so supportive of his brother. You know, that family seems like a lot, but they really, really support each other, and it's very cute.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine going over to their house for dinner.
Oh my God, it's so loud.
Right.
So loud. They just keep talking over each other, just louder and louder and louder.
Yep.
Oh boy. Yeah.
No, but they do seem like a great family and close-knit and all that fun stuff. And Brady doesn't bother me
No.
that much.
No, he really doesn't.
No, because now I just see their father in him because he kind of looks more like their dad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's fine.
Well,
and also he's actually really good.
He's very talented.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think I forgot to mention too, they were mic'd up in the penalty box after they got sent to the penalty box, which was great. So Brady went to the penalty box and Matthew's waiting for him, and they do like a sort of that high five handshake kind of thing. And then Brady sits down and starts like pounding on the plexiglass and almost knocks it over.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Brady says, "I got him good." And Matthew goes, "Yeah, you did. How was mine?" And Brady goes, "Unbelievable." Mm-hmm. They're just each other's biggest hype men.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think they're funny. It's so stupid. So, all right. Well, I don't think we really have time for a game today, but we've done this in the past where I have said, you know, I don't really do sort of like predictions, but I do think a lot of the NHL is like a storyline. So I do like to say, you know, if I were writing the script, here's what I would like to see for the rest of the tournament, I guess.
Okay.
So with the victory, like I said, U.S. clinched a spot in the championship game. So here's what I would like to see. I feel like Sweden and Finland, they've kind of had their moment, like their conflict, and Finland won. Mm-hmm. You know, Finland is now the big brother, or according to Patrick Laine. So my prediction is that Canada is going to make it to the final to face off against the U.S., and they're going to have redemption after the game they lost yesterday.
Okay.
So U.S. has really been leaning into this like miracle on ice thing. You know, they're playing like Dream On after the game in the locker room.
Yeah.
But they're not the U.S. in the miracle. They're Russia in the miracle.
Right.
Or the Soviet Union. Like, I don't know if they know that part. So they're not playing the right role.
Right.
So I think that, I think it's going to get flipped on them. I think Canada's going to step it up and do a great job, and is going to do the comeback victory and do that. I think Canada needs to bring TK in because TK was the healthy scratch.
Yep.
So I know he's not like a big brawler or anything, but he's a shit talker. Mm-hmm. I think we need more Little Rat Man energy on Canada. I think we need to throw him and Brad Marchand on a line together and have them annoy the shit out of Matthew Tkachuk.
That line will be too short, though.
Too short, but so annoying that like Matthew Tkachuk can get rattled.
He can.
And if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be that duo.
Yeah.
And then once he's rattled, like Brady can't do it on his own. Like Brady needs his brother to like be the mastermind. So yeah, I think you need to get those two little rat men to get in there and neutralize the Kachuk energy that's going on.
Right.
I've heard it described as the Kachuk war crime line. So they need to neutralize the Kachucks so that Team Canada can be fancy and good. And that's what I think. So.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I personally just really selfishly want to see that.
Okay.
And also, I think it'd be great if it went to OT and Thomas Harley scored an OT goal.
You just want Harley to score an OT goal.
Well, that's what he's known for. And if he had to be brought into the tournament at the last minute, then why not have him be the OT hero? Like, that's a great story.
That would be a great story.
Yeah. I don't know if that one's very likely, though, because the NHL scriptwriters don't know enough about Thomas Harley to really put that one together.
Yeah. No, I don't.
That one's a bit of a stretch.
Right.
But yeah, just, from a storyline standpoint, that's what I like. I like an underdog. I like come from behind. You wouldn't think Canada's the underdog, but they kind of are in this situation. So
I guess they're kind of in that spot right now.
And, sort of sociopolitically speaking, they're the good guys. So let's let them be the good guys.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
All right.
And that's what I need. And that's what's going to happen.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Unless somebody decides to rewrite my ending.
Well, you never know.
It happens a lot. Editors, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the end of regulation for this week's episode of Ice is Slippery. You can find us on Tumblr, Instagram, and TikTok at Ice is Slippery Pod, where I occasionally post content whenever I happen to get around to it. You can also find us on Blue Sky at iceisslipperypod.bsky.social. If, like Fred, you avoid social media, you can email us at iceisslipperypod@gmail.com, where we would love to hear your spicy takes or get suggestions for future games. Until next week, stay out of the penalty box.